My name is Anna, and I am 42 years old. 10 years ago, I was married to a man named David. Our life seemed perfect. We had 2 wonderful sons, a cozy home, and dreams we were building together. David and I met in the most unexpected way, on a crowded bus. People often say, good girls don't talk to strangers, but I did. We started talking, and from the very first conversation, I knew he was different. He was kind, funny, and made me feel special. We dated for a year before getting married. I was young, happy, and full of dreams. I was always a little insecure about my weight, but David didn't care. He would say, "Anna, you don't need to change. You're beautiful just the way you are." At the time, I didn't fully understand how much he cared for me. David wasn't the kind of man who brought me flowers or coffee in bed every day. In fact, the one time he tried, he spilled the coffee all over my dress, and we laughed about it for days. His love wasn't loud, but it was steady. He worked hard to provide for our family and always made sure we had everything we needed. Over the years, our life became more beautiful. We built a house outside the city, where I grew flowers, fruits, and vegetables. Our sons grew up, got married, and started their own families. Soon, we became grandparents to a lovely little girl named Ella. David adored Ella. He would play with her for hours, making her laugh with his silly jokes. One day, our older son told us he would bring Ella over for a visit. I was excited, but David surprised me by saying, "I can't. I have to work this weekend." This was unusual. David always made time for family. I asked, "Why can't you come home in the evening?" He hesitated and replied, "Maybe I'll stay at my father's house." His words didn't feel right. Something was wrong, but I couldn't figure out what. The next day, I decided to visit David at his office. When I arrived, I didn't see him there. I asked the security guard, "Is David here?" The guard shook his head and said, "No, he's not in today." As I turned to leave, I heard the guard's wife whisper, "Poor woman. Everyone knows, but she doesn't." Her words sent a chill down my spine. What did she mean? That evening, when David came home, I confronted him. "David, we need to talk," I said. He looked uneasy but sat down. "Do you have another woman?" I asked, my voice trembling. David sighed and said, "Yes." The ground beneath me felt like it was crumbling. "Will you leave, or should I?" I asked, trying to hold back my tears. David looked down and said, "I'll leave." He packed his things and walked out of the house. My world fell apart. The days that followed were the hardest of my life. I cried until there were no more tears left. The nights were even worse. I couldn't sleep, and my thoughts kept me awake. I felt alone, abandoned, and broken. My sons came to visit me often. They hugged me and listened as I told them what happened. I said to them, "Your father left me, but he is still your father. Respect him." Even though my heart was shattered, I didn't want them to hate their father. One day, my best friend Martha came to visit. She said, "Anna, come with me. I want to show you something." Martha took me to a children's hospital. The children there were battling cancer. Despite their pain, they smiled and played. Their mothers stayed by their sides, caring for them day and night. Martha said, "Look at these women. They are facing real problems. Your pain is heavy, but it is not the end of the world." Her words opened my eyes. That day, I decided to change. I started volunteering at the hospital, helping the children and their families. I found sponsors to pay for their treatments and brought smiles to their faces. For the first time in months, I felt alive again. Helping others healed me. I began to smile, laugh, and enjoy life. "10 years passed. On Women's Day, I was waiting for my sons to visit me when the doorbell rang. I opened the door and saw David standing there. He looked older, tired, and worn out. "Anna, can I stay here?" he asked. I was speechless. "This is still your house," I said, stepping aside to let him in. David sat down and said, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me." I didn't know what to say. Later, Martha told me that David's new wife had left him. She had lied to him, and her child wasn't even his. David stayed in the guest room. He didn't say much, but he tried to help around the house. One day, I found him fixing the fence in the garden. "You don't have to do this," I said. "I want to help," he replied. "This is still my family." A few days later, our granddaughter Ella came to visit. She ran to David and hugged him. "Grandpa, I missed you." Seeing them together brought back memories of the past. Ella begged me, "Grandma, let's all go to the park together." Reluctantly, I agreed. At the park, David turned to me and said, "Thank you for letting me come back, Anna." I replied, "I haven't decided yet, David." Weeks passed. David continued to stay in the guest room, helping around the house and spending time with the family. One morning, I made breakfast and called him to the table. "Let's talk," I said. David looked nervous as he sat down. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said. "But I want to try." Tears filled his eyes. "Thank you, Anna. I will do everything to make it right." Over time, things began to change. David and I started talking more. We laughed at old memories and shared stories. I told him, "Forgiveness isn't easy. You have to prove that you've changed." "I will, Anna," he said. Slowly, we began to heal. I don't know what the future holds, but I've learned that forgiveness takes time, love, and patience. Maybe one day, our family will feel whole again. Anna's story is one of heartbreak, resilience, and hope. What do you think she should do? Should Anna forgive David and let him stay? Or should she move on and focus on her new life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.